You're not going to go from I don't like my job to, oh my God, I love my job. That's the wrong mentality. It's more percentage, more percentage, more percentage.
This isn't a balance problem, it's an alignment problem.
Fire.
I don't think people have a balance problem. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode where we talked about overcoming imposter syndrome. Today, for episode number 550, another milestone in the Next Level podcast. University. I can't even talk. What is work-life balance really? So a lot of times you'll hear people say, a couple things people say. There is no such thing as balance. Balance is everything. It's important to seek balance. Like, what does that actually all mean?
Right.
And what have we learned from coaching in our own lives about balance?
So I think the key here is that I think when people think of balance, they think of physics class with the seesaw. And there's like a fulcrum in the middle, and it's basically 50-50 on either side. Fulcrum. And I think that what Kevin and I wanted to articulate on this episode, it has to do with the fact that, like, if you're doing 50% of one thing and 50% of another, you're not exactly going to succeed at the highest level in either of those things.
Yeah.
Right? 50% effort is never going to give you a 100% return. As a matter of fact, even 100% effort won't even give you a 100% return unless you do it long enough.
Forever.
Pretty
much forever.
Right.
It's interesting because I think that a lot of people who talk about this don't like their jobs.
Right.
And for you and I think work-life balance, work-life integration is a lot easier because we get to we've designed our work, and because of our work, we've designed our life.
Right.
But I think a lot of people, I think this is what happens, and I know this used to happen to me. I would work 8 hours a day, but I would drive, like if I'm driving to and from New Jersey. So for those of you who don't know, I used to travel for work. I used to drive 5.5, 6 hours to New Jersey, 14 hours to Virginia. It was a whole thing. When I would get home on the weekends, my life lacked so much balance that I would just kind of do whatever I wanted.
Right.
That was my idea of getting balance back, was doing nothing. I've done so much all week. I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired. Now I'll do nothing. And I think that that's where a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And that's when people talk about work-life balance, I think what they're talking about is fulfillment. And they're not feeling fulfilled at work because they're not feeling fulfilled at their life.
And they feed each other. It's interesting because there's a couple scenarios. And I remember, who was it that talked about this? Mike Diamond talked about this. One person asked, what do you do for your job? The other person asked, what's your career? And the other one's, what's your mission? If you consider what you're doing a mission, there have been studies, and I can't quote any of them, but basically, if you consider so you've heard me talk about how the label creates the experience. If you're out there right now and you're on a mission, that's a very different feeling than I have a job. And I think that it's important to understand where you're at. If you have a job that you don't like, that's okay. How do you start working towards creating a job or a career or a mission that you do like? And it's not like it's not like a seesaw where you're going to go from I hate my job to I love my job. I hate my job to I love my job. I think that's what a lot of people do. I hate my job Monday to Friday, and I've been there. And then I love my weekend. And then I hate my job Monday to Friday, and then I love my weekend. And I think they stay on that seesaw. And I think it creates a very unfulfilling life because you and I have talked about this. We used to talk about this a lot more early on, but it's like, why? That's not the purpose of life. The purpose is I think the purpose of life is to grow as much as possible, contribute as much as possible, and to live life on your terms based on what your goals, your core values, and your beliefs. I don't know if other people's focus is optimizing that, but if you are trying to optimize your greatest level of growth and contribution based on your unique flavor of what a fulfilling life would look like, I think obviously work-life balance is not the focus. I think it's work-life integration.
I think and we talked about this in the preamble, I think a lot of it has to do with anxiety zone and comfort zone.
Right.
I think for a lot of people, their job is actually the anxiety zone.
Right.
When they go to work, their state changes. Right. They're miserable in the car right there. And again, I'm talking from my experience. For a while, I enjoyed my job. But the only reason I enjoyed my job is because of the money I was making.
Right.
That was it. I didn't really enjoy what I was doing. I didn't enjoy crawling around in attics in 110-degree weather, crawling around dead animals. Like, that wasn't what I wanted to do.
Right.
But it fit nicely with the fact that I wanted to make a lot of money.
Right.
And I think that that's where a lot of people end up. They end up at a job that they dislike, which puts them in the anxiety zone. And when they're alone, all they do is seek comfort, or they seek something that makes them forget all the anxiety they were in.
Right. It's almost like you have to R&R hard if you're going to force yourself to be somewhere.
But we do that too, and that's another point that I think we should make is
Right.
like, I'll let you go because you were talking about it earlier.
Well, yeah, so for me, I try to use 80-20. So my goal in business and in life is to be as productive as possible 80% of the time, and then to R&R 20% of the time, and then sleep the other 8. So I'll just break it down for me. So for me, there's a 24-hour day, 8 hours are sleep, that leaves 16 hours. 20% of 16 hours is 3.1 hours. So for me, if I were to watch one really inspiring movie where I were to eat food and relax and just spend time with me or Emilia or whatever, that's my R&R. That fills my cup. As long as I was really productive the other amount of time, that's actually a good quote-unquote balance. But it's not 50-50. Right? It's 50-50 would be 8 hours of work and productivity for 8 hours of R&R in that 16-hour day. And I think that that's what a lot of people do. I think that they design a life that has 8 hours of work and then 8 hours of whatever they want. And I don't know if that's going to create the fulfilling life, because if you go back to the human needs, growth and contribution, I can tell you this from experience. If you're out there right now and your main focus is to work so that you can live, some people want to work so they can live. Okay. Other people want to live so they can work. They're like workaholics. And then I think some people, very few, actually design a life where their work is living. And I think that's the place that everybody should get to. I've been in all of those places. I've been the workaholic. I've been the person who works just to make money to then go live. And then I've also been the person to design a life around my mission. And I think that third one is something that everyone should aspire to.
It makes sense. It makes sense that if you're not fulfilled in your, again, think of it, your work, like if you go to a 9 to 5, your work is 30% of your life. More than that. It's 30% of your day.
Right.
Right? 33%.
Well, if it's an 8-hour day, it would be 50% of your 16-hour day. If you're sleeping 8 hours. Yeah,
exactly. So imagine that. Of course, the other 50, I think there's a thing, and I don't know what this is called. I think I've talked about it before, but there's this scientific thing for, do you ever feel like you know you should go to bed, but you feel like you haven't like lived that day?
Right.
There's a scientific term. I don't know what it is, but I always used to get that of like, I worked all day. I don't want to go to bed.
I know.
I don't want to go to bed. Like, I want comfort. Comfort, like sleeping is comfort, but I want to be awake.
Yeah.
That's like a thing. It's a thing for people.
Yeah.
And I think that we're very blessed. And if you're listening to this and you are an entrepreneur or you're in business and you really, or maybe you have a 9 to 5 that you love, that fills your soul, maybe you get to work with people or whatever it is. I think it's important to understand that I think that what I used to be guilty of is I would work really hard and then think to myself, I would really love to go for a hike this weekend. That would fulfill me, but I'm too tired and I don't do it. And then I'm just miserable because I know I should. I think it's important to understand what is actually going to fill your cup.
Right.
I just think I think the self-awareness around that is where a lot of people don't know, like, going to the gym for me fills my cup.
Right.
But
Same.
some days I wake up and I'm like, oh, I don't want to go do that right now. But I'm always grateful I did, and I regret when I don't.
Right.
I didn't go this morning. I regret it.
Right.
I just regret it.
That's such an important piece. And it's unique for everybody.
Of course.
Right? Sometimes people that go weight train, they do regret it. But maybe yoga is your thing. Or I think, right, life is, there is no one size fits all to life. That's the one thing I know for sure, is that no one's advice is 100% applicable to you. It's 100% your choice. I think life is about choices. So you have a choice. How do I want to operate in my life? And I think what's important to listen to and hear right now is basically like this. Okay, there's certain things that bring you joy. There's certain things that bring you pleasure. And there's certain things that bring you fulfillment. If you don't write all those things out and then design your life around those, because here's what I would say. Kev, have you ever met someone who makes a ton of money and that part of their job fulfills them, but yet they hate the work? I've been there. You've been there.
Yeah.
At Cognex, I made a lot of money and I loved that part, but I didn't necessarily it didn't feed my soul. You made a lot of money and you loved the money, but not necessarily the job. Now imagine someone who makes that same amount of money, but also loves the work. I think it comes down to this: mastery, impact, and money. Mastery is, are you doing the thing that you actually enjoy, that you actually want to master? And I'm going to use Kevin as an example. Kevin loves podcasting, okay? If he didn't, it would be very hard to be 550 episodes in and forcing yourself to come to the studio, even when we mess up regularly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So mastery. He wants to master podcasting, the art and the craft of podcasting. Impact. He loves the impact that this podcast is having on the world, and it's profitable. To me, that's someone who's in alignment with what they intend to master, the impact they want to have, and the profitability they want for the lifestyle, okay? When I worked at Cognex, it was not the thing I want to master because I was selling industrial automation equipment that I didn't think was necessarily congruent because it was taking jobs. Okay, I did love the profitability. It was very profitable, but it was not the impact I was trying to have. So I loved people and I was kind of mastering sales, which was great. The impact was not what I wanted to have because I would take jobs to people that need them. Again, technology took jobs, not necessarily me, but it is what it is. And then it was very profitable. So it's almost like, if you're out there right now, this is my main takeaway. And then I'll get off the soapbox. 0 to 10, how much do you want to master the thing that you're doing at your job? From 0 to 10, how much are you proud of the impact that you're having on the world? 0 to 10, how profitable is it? It's a drive to 30. If you're at a 30, I guarantee you're gold. So for you, 0 to 10, how much do you want to master podcasting?
10.
Okay. 0 to 10, how much are you proud of the impact you're having on the world?
11.
11, 10. Fire. 0 to 10, how much are you profitable?
I mean, making all my money from podcasting, but I obviously want to make more.
Okay, so 0 to 10. If 10 is like you making as much money as you want.
6.
6. Okay, so that's a 26. That means that Kevin is a 26 of alignment out of 30. For me, it's going to be similar to that. Rate yours, and then how do we get it a little closer, little closer, little closer?
And the beautiful thing is, and this is me particularly, but it also might be you if you're watching or listening, I'm in full control of all those.
Right.
I'm in full control because I've designed those.
Yeah.
I think it's very much a sliding scale. Any chance I get to use sliding scale, I will. I think that the more out of alignment you feel your job is, so say you work 8 hours of a job you hate, you're going to probably seek eight hours of comfort.
Right. 100%.
And I think that when you're doing a job you love, I think that the workaholic part, you're so happy with one of the results you're getting, so you'd rather do that than rest. Right? The other way, the person who doesn't do enough work, it's because you're loathing the work you do so much that you only want to rest.
Right.
And when we say work-life balance, I do think it's the 80-20.
Right.
I think if you're a business owner, and this is a hard truth, very heart-driven, I say this with all the love in the world, but it's the hard truth. If you want to have one of the biggest, most successful companies in the world, you really shouldn't be watching 4 or 5 movies a day. You're not gonna have the level of success that you want.
Right.
No, and again, I know there's a lot of people out there that tell you, take this course and you do this thing and you send this email and you're gonna get everything you want. I don't believe it works like that. I just don't. And I don't believe that you'll have the habits, the character, the expertise, or the communication to actually sustain that.
Right.
Cool, you get 1,000 emails. If you've never done sales, it's not gonna work. If you don't have the systems in place, it's not gonna work. I think you have to understand, like, this isn't a balance problem. It's an alignment problem.
Fire.
I don't think people have a balance problem because it's easy to balance what you love.
Right.
It's easy to balance what you love. If you like, what was the analogy I was going to use? We're not talking about it, right?
Dog shelter?
No, that's my usual. I was telling you about Call of Duty.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, I was playing Call of Duty all the time. I was playing it like almost every night. Why? Because that felt more pleasurable than me doing the work that had to get done. But that balance was off. Right. It was the wrong balance. If I want to play Call of Duty for 2 hours a night, I can do that.
Right.
Right now, I choose not to. It's important. It's so important. Do we have this in the other episode too? No. No. I think it's so important to be truthful with yourself.
Right.
Like, this is the great question, and I ask a lot of people this. Are you capable of achieving the success that you want with the habits you're currently practicing? Yes or no? Not no but, not yes but. Yes or no. And then we can make changes after. Right. I have been guilty of that, of saying like I want to have $1 billion. Like I want to have $1 billion empire so I can help so many people. But here I am playing Call of Duty in between coaching calls. Like that's not going to work.
Right.
That's not going to work.
Right. That's not aligned.
No.
If your goal is to have $1 billion net worth, are your habits aligned with that goal?
They were not.
Unless they're not,
Unless I was going to get it playing Call of Duty, which I'm not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
never. Probably not. So one thing I wanted to ask you, Kev, from 0 to 10, your old job. Okay, your old job, how aligned was it for you?
It depends on when.
Right. How aligned would it be if you were to go back there now?
0.
Wow.
Okay. It doesn't have anything to do with this.
What changed?
I have a purpose.
Right.
In my speeches,
your standards changed.
Yeah. But also my understanding of alignment changed. Of like, I don't want to trade. There's a reason that when I said I will never go back to another job, it's not because it's more of the fact that like I'd rather stay here and be fulfilled and figure out a way to make money.
Right.
I know I wouldn't be fulfilled on somebody else's time. I just don't know how to do that anymore.
Right.
It's like a foreign language. I don't have any interest in relearning it. I just don't have any interest in relearning it. I always tell this in my speeches. I try to tell this. When I went from wanting to make as much money as humanly possible to wanting to be a podcaster who helps people, I literally started disliking my job almost overnight.
Yeah.
It was literally like almost overnight.
Because your true north changed, and all of a sudden it was less aligned.
And then why did I start seeking more comfort? Right? Why was it calling out of work? It's not because I needed more balance. It's because I needed more alignment. I just think of it this way. Okay, what if the seesaw worked if you moved it, instead of being in the direct middle, if you moved it to the right part?
Right.
The 80% of amazing stuff that you do would balance out with a 20% of rest.
And that's the thing, too. You hear us on the mics, but there's 20% for sure that we don't like.
Oh, yeah.
But it allows us to do the 80% we love. And so I think that's another important piece, too. It's not a matter, you're not going to go from I don't like my job to, oh my God, I love my job. That's the wrong mentality. It's more percentage. And so just real quick before we go here, we've got 6 full minutes.
Yeah, we've got some. I'm going to turn the fan on real quick. Are you warm?
I was going to ask you a question, but yeah, if you want to.
You can ask me a
I'll
question.
hold space. Okay, so my question was going to be
just
your old job,
yes,
when you used to do the anxiety zone, then comfort zone thing.
Yeah.
From 0 to 10, how much did you want to master that?
Let's see. 6, 7?
Okay.
6.5.
From 0 to 10, how much did you like the profitability?
10 out of 10.
Okay, 10 out of 10. From 0 to 10, how much did you like the impact you were having on the world?
Honestly, I didn't really see it. Yeah, we were an energy efficiency company, but I never understood what that actually meant and how much money people were saving. 3.
Okay, so that's a 3, 6.5, you said?
Yeah.
That's 9.5 plus a 10.
10.
So that's a 19.5. So when Kevin decided to be a podcaster, he went from a 19.5 to the opportunity to have a 26. It was very hard to go back to the 19.5. For those of you listening right now, I want to bring this down to earth for you. Have you ever had a really, really incredible relationship or friendship or partnership where it's like, I would never go back in a million years? Or maybe you've been really out of shape and you really got your stuff together and now you're an athlete. Your standards are so different now that it would be like, I would never go back in a million years. Once I've experienced my relationship with Emilia, I now understand like I could never go back because I know what this is like. I know how fulfilling this is like. That's how Kevin probably felt when he finally found his thing. And so that's what I want everyone to think about here is like whatever your job is at right now, work-life balance, right? Whatever you consider your work, your body of work, how can we make it a little more aligned? Whatever you're doing in your life, how can you maybe integrate that a little more with your work? So maybe you have a dog shelter.
Always.
And maybe you are focused on growing that business. Maybe there's a way to become friends with other dog shelter owners so that you can mastermind more consistently about how to grow your business while on a walk with your dogs. That's work-life integration. your businesses are getting better while you're doing what you love while you're training dogs. It's like there's always a way to get a little closer to optimized.
I think another thing, an important thing, and this might be a good exercise for you, figure out what balance looks like to you. Figure out what your cup fillers are. Figure out what you'd like to do. In an ideal world, let's say this. Let's say, I don't want to alienate anybody, so maybe we'll do it a couple ways. One, you're an entrepreneur, right? And you work 12 hours a day. Now, that doesn't mean you're sitting in front of your laptop. Maybe you have a coaching call. Maybe you have a consult. I consider the gym work.
Right.
Right? That's on my system of success. Like, that takes time.
Yep.
So you do that. What would you like to do with the other 3 hours? Like, what would you like to do every day if you could? Take a bath. You want to take a bath? Take a bath. You want to watch trash television? Like, watch trash television. Right. I watched the Super Bowl on Sunday. Like, that was longer than 3 hours, right? I watched the Super Bowl because Tom Brady was in it. Okay, cool. If you're somebody who works a 9 to 5, okay, 9 to 5, we'll say you 8 hours. What can you do for 3 or 4 hours to increase your personal development set point? So you can bring yourself new opportunities.
Get another job.
Get another
That's
job.
more aligned.
Right. Whatever get new opportunities or attract new opportunities means to you. Okay, cool. You still have 3 hours. What can you do? What can you do? I think that's balance.
Right.
I think that's balance. I think the more out of alignment you are, the more you're going to seek comfort. But, it's interesting because what are your, I don't want to say non-negotiables, but if you're listening, what are your non-negotiables? What are things that you always want to have in your life? UFC.
Movies for me.
Right. I love
I'm
UFC.
obsessed.
You
I've
love
tried
movies.
to quit. Can't do it. Don't want to do it.
And I don't think it's
It's not
bad.
that I can't do it. I genuinely don't want to.
And I don't think it's bad.
Right.
Because that is balance.
Right.
What if you just worked 20 hours? You worked, what am I doing? 8 hours minus 24, 16. What if you just worked 16 hours a day every day? You'd burn out. You'd be miserable.
Of course.
Right?
Exactly.
What if you only watched 16 hours of movies a day?
Oh, it'd be terrible.
You wouldn't burn out. It would be the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't feel like you're getting to your goal.
Exactly.
I think it's so important. I think without rest and cup filling,
Yeah.
work is exhausting and it'll burn you out. Without work or
You won't be fulfilled.
achievement,
Right.
you won't, because you'll just feel like, I'm just kind of hanging out. I'm just kind of being
Right.
comfortable.
And we've all been on both ends of
course,
that, for
of
sure.
course. But you'll know you're not growing.
Right.
I think you'll know. I don't know the plant cycle. Do plants sleep?
I don't know, man.
You got to water.
I'm not a botanist.
You got to water your plants. You
Right.
got to water your plants. That's what you have to do. Watering your plants for some people is R&R.
For sure.
It just is. You can absorb the sunlight and you can do the other parts, but if you're not R&Ring, and Lori Hart has said this, I'd rather take an 80% consistent 80% days over spotty 100s.
Exactly.
I think that's the name of the game. I do. I think it's so important.
Same.
We got a minute left. Do you want us to sing? What would you like? What song?
I think there was an important breakthrough for me right there that was interesting. And it's I don't want. Like, you know those things that you should quit and you should and you kind of want to, but it's really hard to do?
Yeah.
And then there's the things where it's like, I don't want to stop this. I love this. For me, it's interesting because there are times when, and I've talked to you about this recently, it's like I'll watch a movie, and this is the thing, The Prestige. That was my movie of the week. So it took me 4 or 5 days to finish that movie because I did it in like hour-long segments, and I would go back and all that. But like, what are your things? What are your R&R things? What fill your cup the most? And is there a way to, I think it's important, if it's something you should get rid of and give up, work on that. Alcohol was something that I had trouble doing in moderation. Right. So I think I genuinely wanted to quit. I tried not quitting. I tried moderation. I tried a little bit here, a little bit there. I want to quit. Movies, I don't want to quit. I don't think it's a net negative unless I'm doing too much of it. Right. And so I think it's like Goldilocks. This porridge is too big. This porridge is too small. What's just right for you? What's the right amount of each thing? What are the ingredients? And then what's the right amount? And then constantly dial that in as you grow and evolve.
Now, I hate to be a stickler here, but Goldilocks, the porridge was too hot, I think. Too cold, just right. I believe.
No,
believe
you're
it was
absolutely
the
right.
beds,
You're absolutely right.
too big, too small. And I have to.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate
because
that.
we got people out there who know that stuff better than we do, and they're going to call us out on it.
Hopefully we get another negative review.
No,
I'm
how
kidding.
dare you. It's uber important. At the end of the day, this is something that I I wish I knew earlier, but I think it's important that I didn't because I had to figure it out. Again, I was hanging out smoking weed on a Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
I was the moderation. That's the best word. I didn't have any moderation. But then there's also times where I've worked 15-hour days for an entire week.
Oh, yeah.
And burnt myself out. I think it's, I do. I would rather be able to run at a moderate speed for a long period of time versus walking the whole time or sprinting the whole time, because the sprint's going to burn you out and the walk you're going to get left behind.
Right.
I think it's important to find your speed, find a way to stick to it. And I think that's the...
Find a way to improve it.
Yes.
Be more effective.
Better your best.
Yeah, exactly.
You dig it?
Strong word.
Do you dig it?
I love it.
You loved it?
I dig it.
Boom. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, every single Monday, Alan and I have a live mastermind. I do believe that at the end of the day, one of the things that I have faced in terms of fears that has helped me the most is seeing something in person and saying like, I don't really want to do that. Like, I'm scared. The networking events, I've always been terrified of those. A lot of our mastermind calls, it's been like, I don't really want to do that. You know, like it's out of my comfort zone. I do believe that getting out of your comfort zone is the key to your success. And if you've ever heard us say like the mastermind and said like, you know what? I'd rather listen when it comes out as an episode. I think you're jeffing yourself. With my heart, I mean this. I think you're jeffing yourself a little bit because this is a great opportunity for you to get out of your comfort zone and be safe. Now, it's very hard for you to get out of your comfort zone from the comfort of your own home, but that's what we're trying to do with this. Virtual, you don't have to leave your couch. You can wear pajamas if you want and leave your camera off. I do think it's a great opportunity for you to absorb value and do it while getting out of your comfort zone. Every single Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us for our Next Level Masterminds.
Also, Kevin and I are starting a new initiative.
Yes.
And what we are doing is we are connecting with listeners who we are going to give a free training or speech to. So if you have a high school, a middle school, a college, or a corporation, charity, nonprofit, Kevin and I are going to customize a unique speech for whatever organization you are a part of. And we've been doing several of these, so we're about to do another one with 1,000 people at Mass Maritime. That's super exciting. Basically, what we've started doing, okay, what is the organization? What is the cause? What are the attendees like? What we do is we send a customized form with custom questions to gather feedback, and then we cater the content to your specific organization and the attendees' specific needs. Reach out to Kevin, myself, Amy, anyone on the team. We are very much rolling this out in 2021, and it's something that I think is super, super valuable. Amy can attest to that. Charisse can attest to that. The other people can as well. So please reach out. Do not be shy. We are super grateful to come and add as much value as possible.
And also, more free things. Alan and I are both doing free 30-minute calls. If you are in business and you want to grow your business, Alan is doing free calls for that. If you're a podcaster and want to grow your podcast or learn more about podcasting, I am doing free calls for that. Just reach out to us directly on Instagram and we will get those things booked. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you. And as always, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.